Alright guys, so today I'm going to be going over the conic test. And this is a perfect leeway because I'm going to be giving you guys a conic review for today as well that you're going to be doing. But let's start off with number one. Number one was a question from the previous chapter over rational expressions. I'm going to leave 1 over x, and I'm going to write divided by it. I'm just going to deal with my denominator first. So I have x over x squared plus 1. So I'm going to flip this and say x squared plus 1. I'm going to change this to multiply over x. All right. Now, just multiply across, so I get 1 times x squared plus 1 over x times x, which is A. Letter choice A. Super, super simple. Number 1 was really easy. Now for number 2, what you got to do is you got to find a common denominator for number 2. So for number 2, your common denominator is going to be 2x. You multiply the first term, x plus 1, by 2 to get 2x plus 2. Multiply the x by x again to get positive x squared, to get x squared plus 2x plus 2 over 2x, which is letter choice D. This is number 2. All right, for number 3 and number 4, it's asking you, is a quantity for A greater? Is a quantity for B greater? Are they equal, or is it impossible to figure out? And it's talking about the radius. First off, the radius for number 3, square root of 25, which is 5. And if you divide the second one, you're going to get x squared plus y squared equals 25. And your radius is equal to 5. So they're equal. These two are equal, which is letter choice C for number 3. Now for number 4, I'm not going to do number 4, but the distance formula, you can use Pythagorean theorem, or you could do x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. Or you can plot the two coordinates on a xy coordinate plane and figure out how many units over it is and then up it is. There's your right triangle to use the Pythagorean theorem. Anyways, for number 4, you're going to see that letter choice column A is bigger than column B. The distance from A is bigger compared to the distance with the two coordinates in B. All right, for number 5 is probably the easiest question on this test. Y equals x squared. Number 5, y equals x squared is a parabola. Super simple. For number 6, you have x squared over 16 plus y squared over 4 equals 1. Okay, now look. Whenever your A and your B are different and it equals 1, it's either an ellipse or a hyperbola. The fact that there's a plus here means that it is a hyperbola. If there was a minus sign, then it would be, it's the fact that there was a plus means it's an ellipse. If there was a minus sign with one of these and it still equaled 1, it would be a hyperbola. And I believe there's a question about that on the test as well. Okay, number 7. The fact that you have y squared equals 16 over x, I'm going to change that to x equals, this is number 7, I'm going to divide both sides by 16 to get 1/16 y squared. This is going to be a quadratic. This is a positive shape, but it's a y squared, so it's going to look like this. It's going to be very wide. Anyways, that's a quadratic. Whenever it's x equals y squared, it's just a flipped around quadratic. So the answer for number 7 was C. And then going on to 8, you have to graph it. Now look, what I'm going to do for number 8, I'm going to make it really simple. I'm going to rewrite it. I'm going to change it to y equals, I'm going to move that 3 to the very end of this. And I'm going to leave it as x plus 4 squared, giving you a vertex of -4, -3. which is letter choice A. It's a quadratic. For number 9, this was number 8. For number 9, if I do number 9, I'm going to divide everything by 2. I get x squared plus y squared equals 16. Radius is equal to 4, giving you, it's a circle with your center at 0, 0, and your radius is equal to 4, which is letter choice A. Now, some people might have actually graphed it like this. You're going to still get the same answer. For number 9, if you divided everything by 16, you would get x squared over 8 plus y squared over 8 equals, oh, I'm sorry, not 8, over 16, I'm sorry, 16 over 16 equals 1. Because if I divided both sides by 32, this would be 1 over 16, 1 over 16 equals 1. Now, some people might say this is an ellipse, but look, your horizontal stretch and your vertical stretch are symmetrical, which means it's a circle. Because your A would equal 4, your B would equal 4, because it's the square root of this, meaning this is a stretch of 4, this is a stretch of 4, which makes it a symmetrical ellipse, which is called a circle. Number 10, all right. For number 10, you should know it's going to be an ellipse because there's a plus sign. And if I divide everything by 16, I'm going to get x squared over 1 plus y squared over 16 equals 1. Because if I divide this by 16, 16 over 16 reduces to 1. Therefore, my A is the square root of this. My B is the square root of this. So it's going to be a horizontal stretch of 1, a vertical stretch of 4, which is going to be, for number 10, it's going to be letter choice B. Okay, for number 11, once again, this is an ellipse. Your horizontal stretch is going to be 5. The vertical stretch is going to be 3. So for 11, your answer is C. Okay, for number 12, this is a y equals something x squared graph because it looks like this. It looks like a face, but whatever. This on a graph, your shape is a negative, so you can cancel out letter choice A is gone, letter choice B is not gone, letter choice C is gone because you will not have a shape of a negative, and letter choice D is gone because you're not going to have x squared. Anyways, your answer is B, because if you divide both of the terms by negative 12, you're going to get 1 over negative 1/12, giving you B is an answer. This is number 12. All right, going on to number 13. I think we're done with graphing for a while. Now, remember with number 13, your directrix, you have to figure out what your foci is. Once you know what your foci is, you can figure out your directrix. And if it has a vertex of 0, 0, and it has a directrix, so normally, let's look. If you have y equals x squared, you're going to have something like this. You're going to have a directrix here, which is a y equals a negative number. Or if your shape is a negative x squared, if your shape is a negative x squared, it's going to look like this, giving you a directrix line up here, which is going to be a y equals positive number. Well, that's exactly what it looks like. See how my directrix is y equals a positive 5? So the only type of parabola that it can be is a y equals a negative shape parabola. The only thing that can look like is it's going to be y equals negative 20x squared, or y equals negative 1/20th x squared. All right. C and D are canceled out. Okay, so you got to figure out what your shape is. And you know, for this question, when I looked at it, I realized that if you put A or if you put B, I gave you credit for it. Technically, I believe, let me go through this in my head real quick. I haven't looked at the answer key. The answer is A because it's a negative shape, so it's going to be closer. But if you put A or B for an answer of number 13, I gave you credit for it. That was fine. And I didn't go too far in depth with that. Just pretty much just testing conceptually if you understood what was going on. Okay, for number 14, find the foci. The foci, remember, is h comma k plus 1 over 4a. This is the foci. Now, this is if you have y equals x squared. If you have a foci of x equals y squared, remember everything is flipped, so this is going to be flipped. It's going to be k plus 1 over 4a h. All right, and it looks like this is going to be more like my answer right here. So my answer is going to have a foci with your x, and your y is going to be 0 for this. So that eliminates, let's see, eliminates C and eliminates D. So your answer is either A or B. And the way you figure this out is, let's get number, what is this, number 14? Let's get number 14 to look like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide everything by negative 8. So I'm going to have x equals negative 1/8 y squared. Okay. Remember, your shape is your k plus or minus, or k plus 1 over 4a times h. Since I know my vertex is 0, 0, technically this is gone and this is a 0. Now I just have to plug in my shape into here to figure out this actual number for my foci point. So I'm going to have 1 over 4 over 1 times negative 1 over 8, which is going to give me 1 over, this is going to give me 1, this is going to give me 2, negative 1/2, which is going to give me 1 over 1 divided by negative 1/2, which is ultimately is going to give me 1 over 1 times negative 2 over 1, which is going to give me, boom, negative 2, which is letter choice A for number 14. If that went a little too fast, go ahead and rewind this. That's what you have this video for, so you can rewind. Number 15 I didn't like. I thought number 15, because you didn't do any questions like number 15 in any of the work. You had to write your equation in vertex form, convert it to standard form, and then convert it back into what it was before. Before you completed the square. I did not like number 15. I didn't realize it till after I saw the test. So I gave you credit for 15. If you wanted to know what 15 the answer was, the answer I believe was A, but I'm not going over 15 because it was too in depth that I wanted to give you. Okay, for number 16, all you're doing is you're cross multiplying. You're going to get x squared minus x equals 2. You're going to move this over, x squared minus x minus 2. You're going to factor x minus 2 times x plus 1 to get an answer of positive 2 and negative 1. And it looks like your answer is positive 2 and negative 1. So it looks like your answer is C. Super straightforward for 16. All right, for number 17. Number 17, you have to complete the square twice. So what you're going to do for number 17 is I'm going to group the x's and y's together. We did a lot of these. You know what? For the sake of time, I'm not going to go step by step. I'm just going to kind of reiterate what I did. Here's my x's, and I would leave a blank space. Plus, here's my, leave a blank space, equals, move that 5 over, complete the square, factor it. Complete the square, factor it. Whatever you complete the square by, add it to here. Whatever you complete the square by, add it with the 5 as well. Number 17, your answer is C. We did so many of these questions. I don't want to go through over this again because there was, if you have a question about number 17, go back on the review or the notes where I specifically taught you just this. Okay, for number 18, it says it's an ellipse, so it's going to be a plus, and it looks like your x squared is going to have 49 underneath it. X squared, because your 7 and negative 7 squared is 49, which is going to be the only answer is D. Anyways, but for your y, plus your y squared, it looks like it's 4, giving you 16, equals 1, which is letter choice D for 18. Number 19, your answer is C. You can use a quadratic formula. What I would do, though, is this. I would square root both sides. You have 11x plus 9 equals plus and minus the square root of, because whenever you square root something, it's always a plus or minus. Minus 9, minus 9. Divide by 11, divide by 11. This is what your x equals, which is number 19. So what is that? It is letter choice. It looks like it's C. Okay. Number 20 is, what is number 20? Well, it looks like it's going to be a hyperbole. No, I'm sorry. Y squared minus x squared. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a hyperbola. Because there's a minus sign, you're not going to be getting rid of that minus sign. So it's letter choice D for 20. 21. Write the standard form of a circle with a radius of 6 and a center at 0, 0. Here you go. Super easy. Letter choice D for 21. 22. If you divide both sides by 6, you are going to have a symmetrical hyperbole or hyperbola, which is going to be A for 22. For 23, all right, let's get into 23. 23, remember, whenever you have your x first and your y is a negative, whenever your x is first and your y is a negative, it's going to give you a line of plus and minus b over a x. Now your a is equal to the square root of 4. Your b is equal to the square root of 16, which is 4. So you're going to have a line of y equals plus and minus b over a, which is equal to y equals plus and minus 2x. That's going to look like this. Up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, boop. And then you're going to go down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1, boop. All right. Now, remember with x graphs, your x graphs are always going to be, your vertices are going to be on your x's. With y graphs, when your y is first, it's always going to be on your y's. Anyway, it should be obvious for the answer in 23. Your answer is going to be B. But if you didn't know that right off the bat, look, the reason why, if these were more narrow, it would be A, but it's not. Anyways, it's going to look something like this, which is letter choice B. How do we know what these points are? Your vertices are plus and minus A. So whatever your A is, it's plus and minus. This is positive 2, 0, negative 2, 0. That's your vertices when they're on your x. Okay, 24. If you, let's see, if we move 24, if we move 64y squared over to this side, boop, for 24, we are going to have a negative variable squared. Remember, anytime you have a negative variable squared, it's a hyperbola. And then lastly, that's also a hyperbola because there is a minus sign in there. And that is the test explanations for your conic test.